Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we're on the website of Amati Auctions based in the UK and we're going to have a look at one of their latest sales, which seems to be a sale of double basses and cellos with a few other bits here and there. It's called the All About the Bass and Cello sale. This auction looks like it's ending on the 29th of May. It's the 18th today, so quite a few days left to go. Only 82 lots in this auction, so a very small sale. Looks like the buyer's premium is 22%, so whatever the final hammer price is, you need to add 22% onto that. I'll put a link in the description, plenty of time to have a look at the catalogue. Just bear in mind that this is a UK based auction, so if you're looking to bid and you're outside of the UK, then there might be import, export fees, shipping, maybe CITES restrictions if stuff has ivory or tortoiseshell, etc., all of that kind of stuff, so do bear that in mind. So without further ado, as there's only 82 lots, I think let's just crack on and see what we have. And just to say, if you do enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing, like, comment, turn on notifications, etc., because it does help. So we've got a double bass here, unlabelled. So current bid is £10. I'm not particularly knowledgeable about double basses, to be honest, but let's have a look. This seems like a kind of modern thing, maybe Romanian or something like that, so nothing too crazy. Estimates 10 to 20. Got a 5-string double bass here, so that's a little bit more unusual. I think looks like it's had a few issues here and there. Also 10 to 20. This looks to be like one of their affordable auctions in terms of estimates, so everything's a low value. So interesting back here, some interesting purfling up here. This looks a bit older, maybe kind of late 19th century or early 20th century or so. It's definitely been in the wars a bit, so a bit missing there. So slightly more interesting than the other one, and a bit older. Quite nice tuners there. So yeah, there we go. I think you've got dimensions and things here. Not really quite sure about double bass dimensions, but have a look if you're interested. A double bass unlabelled. This one definitely looks like quite a kind of modern trade instrument. Yeah, fairly low level. Interesting tuners though as well. Another double bass here. Once again, kind of modern Romanian, maybe Chinese or something like that. It's quite possible. Double bass labelled Golden Strad. Okay. Yeah, looks like another kind of budget instrument there. Half-size double bass labelled Musica. Made in Germany. So I think most of the other basses that we've looked at are actually what would be classed as 3/4 size double basses, because that's actually the normal ones which people tend to use. I think the full size ones not so common, but this is a half size, so a little bit smaller, so I've got no reason to doubt what the description is here. Double bass branded RSAM. This looks maybe a little bit older than some of the others, but not super old, so maybe mid to early 20th century. Actually, that one's saying missing its scroll. Yeah, there's no picture of a scroll there. Another half-size double bass labelled Musica. Let's have a quick look in here. Pretty standard. Double bass labelled Eberhard Meinl, so I presume probably a German bass there. Okay, interesting. So this one here says with extension. So this has an extension where you can flick, like you can change the string length and get like different notes. So this is something which you get actually on a lot of kind of professional basses. I don't know a massive amount about it, but that is actually quite interesting to see. So that's curious. Another double bass labelled Eberhard Meinl. This looks all fairly standard stuff, nothing too crazy. Right, a cello unlabelled. Let's just zoom out a tiny bit more so you can see what's going on here. Looks like a fairly standard cello. Ooh, nasty neck repair there. That's pretty horrible. So that's not good. Probably a German cello of some kind. Cello sold by Thomas Craig. Interesting F holes on that. Once again, looks like probably a fairly low tier German instrument there. Cello label Fritz Otto Kaiser. Looks like a fairly low quality trade instrument there. Cello unlabelled. Okay. This looks in fairly good condition. I presume some kind of trade instrument, but hard to say. Cello unlabelled. Once again, difficult to say on this one. Kind of interesting cut of the F holes, but not much to go on. Cello labelled GPS 617. This looks like a fairly low quality trade cello. Cello unlabelled. Let's again presume this is a fairly low tier trade instrument. Half size cello. Once again, nothing too crazy. 3/4 size cello, unlabelled. Once again, I think fairly standard stuff here. Cello unlabelled. Once again, probably a trade instrument, but not too bad looking. 3/4 size cello labelled Hudson. This is probably a modern Chinese instrument, I would think. A cello labelled Zigyu Wang Beijing. Well, I think pretty sure that this is a Chinese instrument. Actually looks quite nice, in pretty good condition, other than this big scratch or whatever at the going on at the front. So yeah, looks kind of nice enough. Might be alright. So 160 bid already on that, so kind of curious. Oh, don't forget, actually, always forget about this myself, that you can do your 360 view on Amati and you can have a look around and see what's going on. So really interesting. Alright, a cello labelled Gaston Bargelli di Giuseppe. Okay. Nothing too crazy on that. Quite nice wood on the side of the scroll. A cello labelled Virgilio Capellini. This kind of looks in pretty good condition. Although there's a funny mark here. I don't know if that's just a wood mineral mark or really unfortunate positioning in the soundpost area. The condition report didn't show anything, so I have to assume that it's probably just a mineral mark in the wood. A cello labelled Dauglio Maria. Wow, 325 on this already. Yeah, interesting looking cello this. That kind of crazy F holes there. So that is really something curious. Quite kind of pinched waist there. Interesting scroll. Cello in good condition. Well, not sure exactly what it is, but so far probably the most interesting instrument, I would say, in this auction. So that is definitely one to look out for. Cello labelled a Schroter. This is a fairly standard trade instrument. A cello labelled Riccardo Ancionazzi. This is an interesting looking one. A pretty wild kind of figure on the back, and that varnish makes it look like it's on fire. I suspect that this is probably not Italian at all. Probably Eastern European and a lot more modern than 1857, probably 100 years later, if not more. But anyway, an interesting cello, and see what the condition report says. Yeah, in pretty good condition, so might be a good cello for someone. Definitely a curious one. Let's actually have a look at the 360 and see. Yeah, it's got the same kind of fire. It literally looks like it's on fire. Really kind of odd. Cello labelled Artia. Very low quality instrument. That one. Cello labelled Primavera, which I'm pretty sure is Chinese made, one of the budget kind of makes. cello unlabelled. See here, looks like a fairly standard trade instrument. Another cello, so quite a few cellos actually in this auction. Definitely more cellos than double basses. Cello labelled Stentor student, made in China. That's a pretty nasty looking thing. Right, this one, cello unlabelled, that's had a bit of an accident. It actually looks like some kind of horror movie kind of scary thing there. Interesting. Looks like a kind of trade cello. Cello labelled the Westbury, which I think is probably a Chinese made cello, but quite neat work, to be fair. It's quite nice. So a couple of other pictures here. Looks like a big crack on the neck, so it's definitely worth looking at condition reports. So that's going to need a bit of work doing to it. Cello unlabelled, neck is detached from the body. Okay, so that's going to be a bit of work. Also looks like a bit of a trade instrument. A few issues going on here, but curious nevertheless. An electric cello unlabelled. Okay. Curious looking thing. Silver mounted double bass bow, unbranded. Let's have a look at this. Interesting double bass bow. Looks kind of it's like German type, but almost like a kind of dragonetti-ish head. Another double bass bow here, same kind of thing, so fairly interesting there. Nick mounted double bass bow, fairly standard. Half size nick mounted cello bow. Let's have a look at this. That looks fairly generic. Nick mounted cello bow branded J. LaSalle. Looks kind of okay, nothing too crazy. Nick mounted double bass bow, unbranded. Okay. Half size nickel mounted cello bow, unbranded. Looks fairly standard. Nickel mounted cello bow branded G. Werner. This looks like a fairly standard trade bow. Nickel mounted cello bow branded Knoll. Same thing, just fairly standard trade bow. Nickel mounted cello bow branded Cardoso. I think this is a Brazilian brand. Looks like it's got a bit of a crack there. Let's see what else we got. Nickel mounted cello bow unbranded. Okay, interesting wood on that. It's kind of slightly interesting. Ferrule not fully attached, so needs a bit of work, that one. Silver mounted cello bow unbranded, current bid 10. It's kind of a curious one. Looks like, wonder what the condition report says on that. Nothing too much on that. A nickel mounted cello bow branded indistinctly. Okay. Kind of interesting stick on that. Nickel mounted cello bow branded C. Bazaar. Okay. Really quite nice head on that. Nice stick, so it's an interesting one. Open crack on audience side. Okay. So that's slightly problematic for sure. Silver mounted cello bow branded El Tesoro. Backplate not fully attached, pin missing, lift to stick, so it has some issues there as well. Nickel mounted cello bow unbranded. So saying it's got some pins to the head, so that's interesting. Nickel mounted cello bow unbranded. Kind of curious stick, looks almost like a open trench frog. Curious. One bow and two bow sticks varying length, so who knows what's going on here. Some pretty odd things. Some kind of bow and some wild sticks going on there. 2 double bass bows, unbranded. These look like these kind of Dragonetti style bass bows again. 60 bid on that. 10 cello bows and 1 cello bow stick, varying lengths. 10 cello bows, varying lengths. 13 cello bows, varying lengths, and quite a few cello bows around if you're interested. 10 cello bows, varying lengths. 10 cello bows, varying lengths again. The Dictionary of Violin and Bow Makers, that's always in most sales. Monograph Collections, volumes 1, 2 and 3, same things usually in most sale. The Division Viol, okay, by Christopher Simpson, interesting. Luteria Italiana there, by Eric Blott. Benjamin Banks, The Salisbury Violin Maker, it's a good book. 3 books on Stradivari, Joseph Guarnerius, and Repair and Restoration of Violins. Violin Bridges 2. Okay, a double bass stand there. Okay, interesting. It's kind of curious. And another double bass stand that's kind of a bit, not really quite sure exactly how that one works, but okay. Right, a double bass case branded Stevenson. Now these are super interesting. These Stevenson cases are super expensive, so I'm assuming that these are correct. I think these are £4,000 or £5,000. These look like quite old ones, but I think these are quite expensive when they were new, so be curious to see how these sell. So definitely some interesting things if you are a bass player in this auction. So another one here, so there are a fair few curious things here. Another one, wow, that's quite a few, so definitely an opportunity there. A cello case branded Stevenson. Okay, these Stevenson cases for cellos are super expensive as well, so there's already 210 bid on this, so I'm sure that will go up a bit higher. Cello case unbranded, cello case unbranded, cello case unbranded. That looks quite a nice one actually. Another unbranded cello case branded Chenonceau. Cello case branded Hiscox. Got a few guitar cases by Hiscox, good case maker. Cello case unbranded, cello case unbranded, and that is it. Right, okay, well there we go. So that is the kind of the Amati bass and cello sale, which is finishing on the 29th of May. Look, kind of interesting, a few curious things here and there, like not a high level sale at all, but a few things if you're into double bass or cello. I think there's a few interesting things between kind of instruments, cases and bows. I think there's some curious stuff about. So yeah, check out the link in the description. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.